the famous question that everyone has been wanting to know. What happened to me? Why am I in a wheelchair? Why am I quadriplegic? Why do I walk weird? Why am I on crutches? Why my hands don't work? Keep watching, bro. My podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe and like, because I feel like this was a special video and I finally have the cojones to make this video without crying. Hey guys, what is up? It is your girl Milz, and today you are tuning in into Keeping It Real with Milz. That is right, everything you won't find in the textbook.com about spinal cord injury stuff. My name is Milz. Welcome back. If you don't know who I am, I'm just a human that happens to have a disability. Okay, a disability does not discriminate. It can happen to anyone at any time, unfortunately. So guys, this podcast, as I have promised, it's gonna be about what happened to me. The big why. The big why are you in a wheelchair? Why are you in crutches? Why do you, if you don't mind me asking, what happened to you? Guys, everyone has asked me, or I think thought about asking me this question. I've received so many like DMs about like, pues qué te pasó? Like, what happened to you? Why can't you walk? Why can't you give me a high five? Why do your hands look like that? Why do you move that certain way? Well, guys, I'm a quadriplegic. And I wasn't born this way. I usually, when I go out to places, like you have strangers asking my family like, hey, well, what happened to her? Was she born that way? Look, Mr. Nosy Pants, ask me, okay, and I'll tell you. I probably won't, I don't know, depends my mood. But I feel like everyone has wondered that, because I guess the way I move, the way I it's not really common. Okay, so let's get to it, guys. I feel like I've avoided this question for so many years. I think I became active on social media like that year of my accident, 2014, and everyone has asked for that question. Everyone has asked me or wondered, but I've avoided that question, and I've never shared my story. And I think that this is a good time to share my story, because it just is. I don't know. Okay, guys, so before we do get started with the chisme, make sure you have your coffee ready, your popcorn, because this is gonna be juicy. This is probably the first and last time that I will ever share my story, because I just feel like it doesn't help anyone sharing my story. Like me posting like inspirational shit, like me posting my workouts, that actually helps out somebody hearing my story. It's just gonna make them mad and sad, and that's why I'm like, look, man, like it's just pointless, because honestly it's not gonna help anyone. But I mean, if you guys want it, then fuck it, here's my story. So guys, it all started when I looked to my left in ROTC class. I know ROTC, right? I was 14, and this guy me llamó la atención, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So then it was like in 9th grade. So then it all started then. You guys want the juicy story, so this is the juicy story. So I looked to my left and I was like, dang, what was his name? So I was waiting for the teacher to call the roll. Well, he was calling the roll already, so I was like, okay, well, he never called his name. So I was like, I guess his last name starts in the, like, it's like ABC or something like that, right? So I was like, all right, next time when I go to class, I'll actually pay attention this time. So then I figured out his name, searched him up on MySpace at the time, and I searched him up, and I was like, dang, if I add, he gonna slide in my DM. Sure enough, he did. And fast forward, we dated for like 6-7 years, guys. I dated this guy, and I was like an on and off relationship type of shit. So then we graduated high school and whatever, 2012. Hey, I went to Watrip High School. If you're from Houston, shout out to everyone that went to Watrip. Okay, so you know, we were dating or whatever. My birthday comes up, and it was weird. That day was really weird, guys, because how do I say it? The atmosphere felt weird. The day wasn't sunny. My birthday's on October the 4th, and it felt really fresh. And I don't know, I feel like I knew. I was just really sad that day, and it just wasn't the same. So then I went to the mall that day with my family, and I was like, I didn't even feel like buying like clothes or high heels. I was like, I have some at home, I'll wear them. I wear the ones that I have, right? So then anyways, the day passes by, and then something went on that day that like I got upset at something, and I was crying, and I even thought to myself like, bro, like this is not even a big deal, like, oh, why am I even crying? So then I was like, okay, whatever, weird, but okay. So then I get ready, and I wanted to go out, but then in a way I was like, dude, just stay home, like whatever. Pero yo de terca, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna go out, it's my birthday. So then the guy that I had been dating for like forever picks me up, and before I got in the car, it was weird because like every time we would go out, like I would always drive, and I was like, look man, if you're gonna drive, like you have to pinky promise me that you're not gonna drink, like you're gonna be my DD. Because every time we would go out, like I would always drive, because I knew how he was. So I was just like, so I would always drive, right? So then the one time I didn't drive, I became a quadriplegic. Yeah, man, it sucks. I didn't think it was gonna happen to me, like ever. I didn't even think. Well, you know, to be honest, I didn't even know what quadriplegic even was. I didn't even think it. I wasn't even aware of the word palabra. Like I didn't know it was a word. I didn't know it was like a diagnosis. I didn't know, because everyone I hang around with or whatever, or even like the places that I would go to, I would never see anyone in a wheelchair. Like I've never encountered anyone in a wheelchair, except for one time at school. One time I tried to open the door to a girl, because that's just the person I am. Like if I see somebody like struggling, or if even anyone, dude, like I would open the door, or I'll leave the door open. So whenever people like open the door for me, I don't get offended, because that's something that I would do, like as a person. Whether you're pregnant, walking, or whatever, if I see you coming, I'm gonna hold the door. Well, not right now, bro, because them doors be heavy as fuck. But I know that I used to do that back then. That's why I don't get offended when people be like, oh, why are you trying to, bro, like that's just like any human, like a decent human will do that. Anyways, back to the story. Fuck, what was I at? Shit. Guys, help me out here. Okay, well, anyways, before I got into, yeah, so I didn't know that was a term. So then whenever you pick me up outside, I was like, look man, you have to pink promise me that you're not gonna drink. Nah, yeah, I promise. I was like, alright dude, you're gonna pinky promise me. And I take these to the fucking heart. As you guys may know it, this motherfucker, he broke my promise, guys. And this story, this podcast is not about bashing him, because that's not where we are right now. We are in a good mood, we're like vibing, and we're at a point that we don't hate this guy. We don't like him. If we don't need to talk about him, it's better. Because I feel like, I don't know, when you talk about somebody, you bring them in the universe, and then like, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. And I'm not gonna lie, he did reach out to me like 3 weeks ago. But let's finish with the story, and then I'll tell you guys about that. Actually, I think it was 2 weeks. Anyways, so then I get in the car, and then like, I don't know, like I feel like something was trying to keep me back from not going out, because I was like, we were like, I don't know, like 10 minutes in the drive, and I was like, dude, I forgot my deodorant, like let's go back home, like I need to put deodorant, like bro, I sweat, so like I need to go back, like let's go back home. And then he's like, no, go to the store, go to the Walgreens right here, like and I was like, all right, bet. So then I get off, and you know, looking all cute with my little dress and my little high heels. I'm like, oof, 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 walking. And I get my deodorant, and you know, people were staring, because you know, I look good. And that's weird, because like, people stare at me now, but it's just a different kind of stare, if you know what I mean. I don't know. O sea, la gente te mira diferente. Pero bueno. So then, I put my deodorant on, I'm like, okay, well, let's go. So then we went to a little restaurant, and then whatever. So then, point to the story, guys, I was like super drunk, because it was my 21st birthday, and I was like, look, I'm not gonna be driving, like he's gonna take care of me, like it's all good, right? So then, guys, you know, blah blah blah, party goes on. And next thing you know, I opened my eyes. I have my seatbelt on. It's dark. And then I looked to my left, and there he was. There he was, driving really up close to the steering wheel, and like with his eyes like squinting, and like he was like literally like leaning on the steering wheel because he couldn't see because he was so drunk. So then I was like, oh my god, like, why did you drink so much? Like, I can't believe, like, dude, like, pull over, like I can't be, like, I was really upset and I was really mad, and I started to cry, and I was like, man, that's so fucked up. Like, I asked you for one thing only, and and look at you. And I was like, man, like, Daniel, that's I wasn't supposed to say his name. That was not the plan, but I mean, there's so many people named that way, especially in the 90s, so anyways, to the point. so then guys, I looked to my I took out my seatbelt. I took out my seatbelt, guys, and the funny thing is that like I had my seatbelt on. And if I would have had my seatbelt on, I don't think I would have been a quadriplegic right now. But the reason why I did take out my seatbelt off was because I had told him to pull over and I was gonna drive. Like, I was literally like better standing, I guess. No, I wasn't. But I had drunk and I was having fun because I honestly thought that like he wasn't gonna drink, that he had my bag. Like, I trusted him. So then I started arguing, and then I was like, dude, like, that's so fucked up. You need to pull over, like, let me drive. And then he started to say mean things. So I was like, blah blah blah, a la verga. I didn't say a la verga. And we were on Antoine. If you're from Houston, Antoine and 249, that's where I became a quadriplegic. Every time I pass through there, I get sad. Some days are good, some days are not. And I think if I was to go there today, I don't think it'll be a good day. Just because I'm reliving the moment right now. I'm reliving it with you guys. So then that street on Antoine is two ways, right? Y son like cuatro carriles, like four-way, right? Well, two to go, two to come, pues. And we were almost on 249 whenever this dude, instead of going straight, went in between of the median onto the other side of the street, and then crashed into that CVS pole right there on 249 in Antoine. And at that moment, whenever I felt that he was going into the median, you know, because your body starts to shake. And remember, I was like, my body felt loose because I was a little tipsy, right? And at that moment, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but at that moment, I gave up. I was really scared, and I was like, I stopped like screaming. I closed my eyes, and I just gave up because I felt like I couldn't do anything. I thought about me like getting the steering wheel. I thought about me punching him, but I just thought like either or, whatever like option I did choose, or like whatever one was gonna end up in a crash. So at that moment, when I felt that my body was just going everywhere, sangoloteando, I gave up. And I feel like that's the reason why I haven't given up yet in my recovery, which I'm not. But I feel like that's why I've always stayed like motivated, I guess, because at that moment I gave up. And sometimes I think about it like, okay, well, what if I would have done this, or what if I would have just jumped out? I don't think that would have been a good idea, but like at that moment I gave up. And I hate to say it, but I just did. I was really scared. I closed my eyes and I just let it be. But like, you can't blame me. Like, what could have I done? You know, what, somebody like crazy, like intentionally crashing this car. This was a one vehicle accident, quotation marks. because accidents can be prevented, and this was like done in purpose. So I hate to say it like, oh, I'm a victim. No, I'm not a victim. I was just in the car with a dumb fuck. You know? And no, we're not bashing anyone, but sometimes you just gotta state facts. He's a dumb fuck, bro. Like, I feel like, damn, if I was him, like I bet people be like, you know, if two people were to see us out in the street and they'll see me struggling and they'll see him just walking, they'll be like, damn, like, her life sucks. No, like, his life sucks, bro. Like, can you believe, like fucking up somebody's life like that? Like, just taking away their independence. Like, he, out of everyone, knew how much I used to love to run. And for him to just take that away from me, like, me, I say it this way because I was the most athletic person in my whole entire family. Like, from Mexico, from like everyone, like, I was that person. I was that person that like was in soccer, was like running. Like, I'm the only person that played a sport at that time. And at this time, guys, we're talking about like 2008, you know, to 2014. Like, fitness wasn't cool. Like, you know, they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go run, let's go to the gym. They'd be like, ugh. Like, it wasn't cool how it is nowadays. Like, nowadays, La Vida Fit is cool. So that's why everyone, you know, hops in the trend and they're like, okay, well, this is cool, whatever. I'm just checking my I was just checking about it, the thing was still raining. But bueno, pues, like, yeah, so I was always like, when it wasn't cool, yeah, like, it just wasn't. So when I wasn't at work, I was either at the park or I was at the gym or I was doing homework. I was always like active doing things. So I'm sure he's like, I'm sure I fucked him up pretty bad. And oh well, let's go back to my story. Okay, so then the accident happened, right? And this was like I don't know, like 1 p.m. and in my head, bro, the accident was on my birthday, because technically it was, right? 1 p.m. I mean, I don't know. So technically my accident happened at 1 a.m. October the 5th. But in my head, the way it's processed, okay, my accident happened on my birthday. I mean, can you blame me? No? Should I just, I don't know, I just say it. Yeah, my accident was on my birthday. My 21st birthday gift was to be a quadriplegic. It's like a lifetime birthday gift. Fuck. I mean, guys, like, how do I say it? It's not that I'm like over it. I'm just numb to the pain. I just feel like with time you just know how to like deal with your emotions. And wow, some days are good, some days are bad, some days are sucky, some days are not sucky. But what I try to like tell myself every day is that even if I was not to have an injury, I would still have good days. I would still have bad days. Some days would suck and some days wouldn't suck, because that's just what life is, bro. And that's how I try to like stay motivated. And as of right now, I don't feel really sad. But I don't know, maybe I'll feel like that. Maybe I'll feel like sad later. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But anyways. So then let's go back to my story. Let's go back to 249 and Antoine. Honestly, I hate Antoine. I don't like that street. And if you look at the news, a lot of people have died on that street. But I don't know if it was him or if it was the paramedics that told my family that I had walked. And at the time, like, people were like, well, why did you walk? Bro, like, I didn't know I had walked. Like, when somebody told me, like, yeah, you walked after your accident, I was like, I did? Like, how? I was like, people tell you not to, like, I've seen it so many times in the news, or like I would read about it, that whenever you do get in a car accident, you don't walk, or you just stay there until like you see that everything feels normal or whatever. So then, guys, they say that I walked. And actually Daniel, he was like, yeah, you walked, and that's why I thought that you were just playing, because I've always been like goofy or dumb, whatever. So he said that I was walking, and then I just like collapsed, and then I just never woke up. I mean, I just that he was telling me like, hey, get up, Mildred, like, stop playing. and then I couldn't get up, and then I just stayed there. So then all of a sudden, like it's just kind of like a blur. So I don't remember me walking. I just remember me being on the sidewalk there, and then I remember me hearing like motorcycles, and then I don't know how, but I ended up having my head was on some guy's lap, and he was like, stay awake, like don't go to sleep, like it's gonna be okay. And I remember me telling him like, hey, call my dad, and I was giving him the phone number because I know my dad's phone number by memory. So then I was like, yeah, háblale a E3, blah 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 blah. And the day before, guys, I had just bought me an LV purse, and he was with like I think 2 girls, I don't know. So then I was like, hey, get my purse, like is my purse still in the car? I was like, can you get my purse? And I don't know, like I had just broke my neck, right? And I'm over here worried about my LV purse. Shit, I just bought that back for my birthday. What you mean? So then I'm over here worried about my purse, right? And the guy's like, yeah, stay awake, we're gonna call the paramedics. So then I don't really remember. That's all I remember. And I remember me opening my eyes, and I was already at the hospital. I was at Methodist right there, like on Willowbrook. And I was so thirsty. And I was like, and they were like checking me and whatever. And I just remember that I couldn't move. But I don't know why. I just thought that was normal. Or I don't know, like I was just looking up. And I was looking at the ceiling. It had like little drawings, now that I'm remembering. And I was like, I'm so thirsty, like let me have some water. And I was a little, I think it's a little with an attitude. And the lady was like, hold on, we have to do something, like the nurse. And then I was like, well, can I go to the restroom? She's like, go to the restroom. And I was like, well, I'm telling you because I need to go to the restroom. Like, what do you mean? I was like, I can't get up. Like, I really have to go to the restroom. Like, I feel like I'm about to pee myself, but like, I can't. Because in my head, I was like, well, I can't pee in bed, you know? I was just like, look, man, I really have to pee. Like, I have to pee really bad. So then she was like, well, go to the restroom, get up. And I was like, because like I was like tipsy, right? So she thought that I was just like a dumb little like young girl, like just drunk, right? But I was like, I need to go pee, like I'm telling you, because I can't get up. So then I heard everything go quiet, and then she was like, what do you mean? I was like, I can't get up, I feel ants everywhere. And back then when I would drink, well, I don't know if it happens to you guys, that you start to feel little ants in your face, like at that moment, you know. That's whenever back then I would be like, okay, this time, whenever back then I would like feel like así como tipsy, and I started to feel like ants in my face, I would be like, all right, this is a sign to stop drinking, or if I take another drink after this, then I don't know how I'm gonna act. So then she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I feel ants everywhere, like my face, my hands, like it feels like little ants everywhere. I'm over here all naive. And she's like, what? So then everyone comes. So then next thing you know, like it's literally like a movie scene. They're cutting up my dress, and I was like, no, don't cut my dress. She's like, well, we need to cut it. And I was like, fuck. So then I had just bought it like a Victoria's Secret bra, and you know, Victoria's Secret push-up bras, they are like $16. I was like, no, you can cut my dress, but you cannot cut my bra. I think I'm wearing it right now. Wait, I think I may be wearing that one right now. They're actually pretty good, the push-up bra. So if you guys you know, don't really have big boobs, not that I don't have big boobs, but like I would totally recommend. Anyways, that bra survived, and then the crowd went wild. They were like, because like spinal cord injury, on most cases you cannot see, okay? So I only had like a little scratch in my right leg, and I looked good. I was not bleeding anywhere because it was internal. Like I had broke my neck, C5, that's what I broke, guys. And so I started to panic, and then it took me to the MRI. The MRI was like the worst thing on earth. My neck hurted like a lot, and I was there before they. If it wasn't for me wanting to pee, I don't think those motherfuckers would have realized that I had broken my neck. Like, they are the worst, okay? Yeah, man, like I still remember that nurse being a fucking bitch. Like, if it wasn't for me wanting to go pee, they would have never noticed that I would have that I had broke my neck. I don't know, man. And like those 2 hours that we wasted there, they could have helped me. I feel like I could have regained more movement, because every injury is different, right? And it's like the longer it takes for them to release that pressure off of your spinal cord, the better. Because on those 2 hours, I feel like a lot of my nerves did get like fucked up. And I feel like if I would have, but because like they didn't know, like it's pretty much how I became a quadriplegic. I became a quadriplegic because of somebody else's action. And I feel like because I have somebody to blame, it's become a really weird journey just because somebody caused it on purpose. So I feel like it's a different kind of healing, because I knew this person. We had built a relationship. Me and his family had also built a relationship. So then, you know, you're grieving the old you because you're not able to do all these things that you used to do so easily. I didn't even think that somebody could take that ability from you. I didn't know that people had spasms. I didn't know that I knew the wheelchairs were a thing, obviously, duh. But I just didn't know it could be taken away so easily in literally a blink of an eye. For everyone that is listening to this podcast, if somebody intentionally caused your accident, your injury, somebody shot you, somebody threw you down the stairs, if somebody crashed in the car on purpose, like in my case, I hope you're not feeling sad. I hope you're not reliving that moment. But I do want to send you a hug, just because it's hard. And if you want to feel sad at that moment. Cry for those 5 minutes and 30 seconds the most you can. Cry and let it out, and then just put on your bad bitch face and let's get to it. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing, because that's all we can do. Okay, like us hating that person, waiting for an apology, it's not gonna unparalyze you. It's not gonna reverse the injury. It's really not. And at the end of the day, we're just how do I say it, wasting time and focusing on something we can't change, focusing on something negative. Because trust me, I've been there a lot of times, and it's been weird, and some days are still kind of weird, because in some cases, like in my case, he still reaches out, and you're like, well, why didn't you block him, Mildred? Like, really? I have, and this is like the 4th Instagram where he's made, so he's able to like reach out to me, because of course I have my Instagram public, and sometimes like I don't want it to be public, because I'm like, oh, like he's able to see like what I'm doing or whatever. But then I remember that this is not for him, this is for all of you guys that are watching, for my friends on the internet. What's up guys? So yeah, I don't know, yeah, it's weird, man. Like still to this day, I'm like, damn, like I can't believe like my hands don't work. and some days I do want to walk. I'll be lying if I told y'all like, oh, I don't want to walk, like my life is way better. I mean, it's good, you know, but shit, I do want to walk. I want my hand function back. Like that's not me, okay? Like I've heard a lot of people say like, oh yeah, my life used to suck. No, my life was good. My life was good, and like I was like in a good state, man. I was like loving my body. I had reached this type of confident level that I was comfortable in my body, like in my skin. And I was doing good in school, all A's, because I was trying to go to nursing school. And I was getting that money, man. I was getting that bread. Shit, man. I was getting that money. Ay, money making. And everything was just taken away. Everything paused. And I feel like the scariest thing that I noticed, and that like brought me into my senses to be like, no, you can't give up, like you need to go hard in therapy. Was whenever like my family like they weren't coming as often, or like when I would see like that, like the people around me were still going out, were still like living their day, that I was like, dang, like life keeps going. Life keeps going. It's kept going and it will keep going. So I can't just stay here in the hospital bed and just not recover or like get stronger. Like I need to like get to it. Like the world is not stopping because of my injury. Like it's not. And I feel like that was really scary to me. Like, dang, like everything's still normal. Everything's still normal out there. So I think that's what helped me to, you know, stay motivated. So yeah, guys, there goes my story. I don't know, what else am I missing? What else am I missing? So that is my story, guys, of how I became a quadriplegic. It was not an accident. Things like that do happen. Things like that can happen to anyone at any time. I've not necessarily like an intentional car crash, but like I've heard so many stories. Like a lady one time fainted, so whenever she did faint, she fainted in a way that whenever se cayó, her neck cracked and she became a quadriplegic. Or a time that somebody was bit by a mosquito, and I think it was a dengue. So then that bacteria went into her spinal cord injury and that paralyzed her. So there's so many reasons why people become disabled, they become paraplegic. But this is my story, and I feel like every story has two sides. But if you were to talk to him or interview him, whatever, it would be the same. Nothing else would change. Honestly, like there's nothing to lie about. And yeah, like I said, every story tiene dos lados, but this story is just how it is, and it's just how it played out. He says that it wasn't intentionally, but how do you go from driving straight to like diagonal wise? When I tell people about my story, they're like, well, why did you get in the car? Like, you're dumb for getting in the car. Like, what happened to me is not my fault, okay? And I trusted this guy, so that's why I got in the car with him. So yeah, like that's what it is. And he says that he didn't do it, like I said, intentionally. One time he was like, oh, it's because I was drunk. No, correction. You're using drunk as an excuse. You're a shitty person, and even if I was drunk, I would never do that to another human. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try not to really like talk about this, because every time I do, like I relive it. Like I already relive it, like sometimes in my dreams, or like when I pass through there, or some days like it's just like just a thought that just stays there. That's why I try to stay busy, so I won't be thinking about pendejadas. But some days, guys, I just can't. Like I've gotten to a point that I'm like I don't think I'll ever get over this. But I will. I am learning how to manage my emotions, or like when I think about that, think of like the positives. Like, okay, well, what has that like what has my injury taught me? You know, like instead of saying like, whoa, why did this happen to me? Or like I try to look at the positive things of this injury. I like some days when I'm like not feeling it, I try to like, you know, ask myself, you know, like, well, what has this injury taught me? Or like, what can I learn from it? So that's how I stay positive, to stay grateful, like of all those things that like, well, if the accident wouldn't had happened, would I still be with him? So then I just like, you know, get back to my real life, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever, keep going. Because thinking about the past or the what ifs, like for what? We're just wasting energy and time on things that we can't change. Like on the what if, like what if, shut the fuck up, Mildred, and go work out, go to work. You know, just fuck. It's a tough journey. It's a tough journey, I'm not gonna lie. Well, this sums up my story, guys. I do want to thank you for tuning in, and I think that this podcast is a little longer, but I had to share the juicy gossip. Okay, again, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I do want to thank you guys for supporting me for a very long time, for always being so positive, like always. How do you guys stay so positive like that? The fuck. So let's end it off with this, guys. If you're out in the streets and you see somebody with crutches or walking with a little limp, that little pimp walk, or in a wheelchair, don't ask them what happened to them. One, because it's none of your fucking business. Two, how is that gonna help you or them out? Like how? Like literally how? Unless you're gonna like, you know, donate some money for therapy, then okay, ask. Like, hey, well, you know, I had some little extra cash. I was just asking because if you need therapy, I know how expensive it is. Like, if you're gonna ask because of that, then ask, okay? But don't fucking ask, bro, because some of us relive that moment, and it's not cool. Like, sometimes I be so in the moment. And one time I was at the store looking at some cute ass earrings, and some lady was like, what's wrong with your legs? I'm like, what? And then I had to be like, oh well shit, like then I had to be like, well dang, like I can't really walk, like, you know. So then it reminded me that I was disabled, because it happens. I don't know, sometimes I don't think that I'm disabled, or sometimes I forget that I can't walk, because I'm so in that moment, invested, living my life, that when somebody's like, what's wrong with you? Like, what you mean what's wrong with me? The fuck? Or when somebody's like, what happened to you? I'm like, well, like today? Like, what happened today? Like, well, you know, I woke up, drank some coffee. And I've said that before. But anyways, don't ask somebody what happened to them, because it's none of your fucking business. Okay? Pero bueno, this is my story. So next time somebody sends me a DM talking about like, hey, what happened to you? I'm gonna be like, link, bro. Give me them views. Hear this out. Alright, guys. So that is it, man. That's pretty much what happened to me. We're good. We're the best we've ever been mentally, so we're good. Don't go bashing that guy, because like, for what? We don't need negative energy around us. We are good, moving forward, pushing forward, because thinking about the what ifs, or like just holding anger, doesn't help us in any way. It doesn't get us money. So if it ain't getting us no money, bro, we don't want that. Okay. All right, guys, so that's it. Goodbye. So that is it, guys. Bye. Ciao. Anyways, guys, so that is it, guys. Y'all know the deal. See ya, don't wanna be ya. Actually, tune in next week, okay? Because we're gonna talk about something else.